joining us tonight live or watching the recording of this interview. This is another Theater 444 Meet the Cast interview. This time we're meeting the cast of Theater 444's upcoming production of Tick, Tick, Boom. We've got several new faces here for you to meet, and Owen, a familiar face behind the scenes this time, and of course Pam, the artistic director and founder of Theater 444 and director of Tick, Tick, Boom. So we'll dive right in. I suppose Tick, Tick, Boom is coming up just under 2 weeks away here on January 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th. This time in the Geneva High School Auditorium. Pam, can you tell us how you're using that space? Because it's in the auditorium, but the audience will not be sitting in the seats in the auditorium.
Right. Yes. So we spent most of the weekend working really hard to set up the stage so that there would be seating for the audience on the stage with us. We really loved doing Rent in a Black Box. So we wanted to have that same atmosphere for this show. And so we built seating that we painted and set up inside the auditorium on the stage. So you'll be sitting on the stage with us.
Which is very cool for Tick, Tick, Boom, because I don't feel like the show would feel the same in a very formal proscenium kind of setting, right? It's a small show with three actors. I know two of the three of you play a ton of different parts, but I'm sure this will help it feel a lot more intimate, just like Rent was over the summer in the Boys and Girls Club,
right?
Black Box Theater. You felt like you were sitting right on top of the show. This, I imagine, will feel similarly.
Yeah. And today we had our band there today. We were rehearsing, so you can see how close the seating is to where they are. So it's going to be super intimate while we're there. I think
Very
we'll
cool.
some troubles.
Let's meet some of our new Theater 444 faces. I guess it's my left, but what it looks like to everybody else is Lily. Lily, where are you coming from? How did you find out about Theater 444 or Tick, Tick, Boom? What motivated you to audition?
Great questions. So I am from Rochester, so it's a bit of a commute for me to find out about 444. But I found out about the show about Tick, Tick, Boom from Facebook on a whim, and I had been introduced to the show a little shortly before I found out that it was being put on. So of course I had to go and audition, and then meeting everyone at callbacks and through the audition process, it was very clear that this was going to be a really, really solid production. I've been so inspired by the way that Pam and Meredith have worked to stage this production and the creativity, like you said, it's a partner show to Rent. So just staging it in a black box, it's going to be so immersive and fun. So yeah, it's been fantastic. And of course, like everybody loves Jonathan Larson. So we wanted to be involved for that reason too.
Very cool. Do you have any past favorite theater experiences that you'd like to share that would tell us a little bit more about sort of who you are as a performer or a person?
Sure. Some favorites. I was in an a cappella group for a really long time, so did that for a while. And then my most recent show that I was in was Elizabeth Rex, which is a really fun retelling of Queen Elizabeth I's life and an imagined meeting between her and Shakespeare. So definitely another kind of like in your head cerebral show. But
I would love that. I don't know anything about that, but that is right up my alley.
Yeah, it's a fantastic show. If you ever get the chance to see it, then definitely take it.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you. It's nice to meet you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Just below you on my screen is Chris. Chris, can you, I guess all the same questions. Who are you? Where do you come from? How did you find us?
So my name's Chris Teller. I'm originally from like the Ithaca area, but I live in Geneva now, which is super convenient. I found out about the show, actually, Owen, just to my right here. I've known Owen for several years, and he actually reached out to me and told me about the opportunity. And I've been a fan of Rent for basically since high school. So to have the opportunity to do this, I'd never heard of the show at the beginning, to be honest. But I went home that night, immediately watched the movie, and said, yes, this is something I absolutely want to be a part of. So that's where we are.
Cool.
Chris has been right under our nose all the time. He's right here in Geneva.
Now he'll down even more. Chris, is this your first theater experience in Geneva, or have you done other things here?
In Geneva, yes. Yeah.
But you've been on stage before, Chris.
Yeah. I was involved in theater from a very young age, probably like 8 to 10 years old, all the way up through till college. And then after college, I kind of dropped off and haven't done anything since. This is be my first show back in a little over a decade. So it's kind of nice.
That's very exciting and brave, because you auditioned for a show that you didn't know, and this will be your first time in a while. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And inspiring. Audition for theater, everybody. It's never too late.
Yeah, do it.
I know Pam has a great Guys and Dolls story that maybe do you want to share just quickly, since it came up, Pam? It's such a good story.
Sure. So when I directed Guys and Dolls for the Geneva Theater Guild, a long time ago now, but we were putting an audition notice together, and they said, well, what age range do you want? And I said, well, like 18 to like 100. So we need like older folks, and we always need older folks. And so we put it out there, and this lovely young lady came into auditions who was 82 and was terrified and said, I've never been on stage before, and this is on my bucket list, and I'm terrified, but I promised myself I would do something really scary. So I sang Happy Birthday with her so that she could audition. And then I said, you're cast in the show. And she said, really? And I said, yes, you're in the show. And she said, now I got to do it? And I said, yes. And she did. And she was wonderful to work with. And she had just the time of her life. And it was just a great experience for the cast as a whole, but also for her and her family to see her up on stage. So it was super exciting. But
I love hearing that story every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris, I don't think you're 82, so your story doesn't have quite the impact. But, but I'm still invested in your success story. I'll be there, and I'll be rooting for you. And last but not least, as far as cast members go, is Logan, who was just a voice. Now we've got some video back. Logan, where do you come from, and how did you find out about Theater 444, Tick Tick Boom?
Well, I hope everyone can hear me. I've been having some technical difficulties, but perfect. I was originally born in Buffalo, but I grew up mostly in Elford, New York, around Hornell, New York. That's where I'm at right now. And my dance teacher sent me the audition for Tick Tick Boom because I had just that week or so told her about the movie and told her to watch it and use some songs from it for dance and different things because I was obsessed with it at the time. And she sent me the audition from a Facebook group that she was in. And it was an hour-and-a-half drive, but I was like very, very into the show, and I figured it'd be worth it to at least go give it a try. And it worked out, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And even with driving 3 hours a day, it's still worth it. So, yeah.
Well, that's good to hear, and very cool. People are coming from all over. Logan, do you have any favorite past theater experiences?
Yeah, I would say throughout high school, I enjoyed all my shows. I think some of my favorites actually came from the community theater that I was a part of in Hornell, because it brought in people from all the different neighboring schools that I had not met before. And I got to meet a lot of people from surrounding areas and still remain close with some of them. And just did another show with them this past summer, even out of high school and everything. So those are some of my favorite ones. So just meeting new people is a good way to complement theater. So yeah.
Cool. Do the three of you feel like you have gotten to know each other pretty quickly with since it's just the three of you, or has that been challenging?
Well, I guess I'll continue real quick. My perspective is that I think we've bonded pretty quickly. I think that there was a sort of a instant connection, but that we've obviously had to spend some extra time together and try to get to know the things you don't necessarily find out while acting. But I felt a very comfortable connection pretty quick off the bat.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think working with a cast of three, you kind of have to build those bonds really quickly. Being in a show that deals with this kind of material where we're dealing with vulnerable parts of life and decision making that's really, really highly emotionally charged. So you have to be vulnerable with people really quickly to dive into that material together. So it's been easier with that.
Sorry. I definitely agree. I think there was an instant connection, and it's been very easy getting to know these guys. They're a lot of fun to be around.
Well, that's good to hear, because hopefully that means that you've got some pretty great chemistry that'll be really fun for an audience to watch.
We like to think so.
Owen, are you stage managing this time around?
I am stage managing this time around.
Because I know we're just starting to get into running through the show and adding in all the other pieces, but is this show going to keep you busy as far as stage managing goes, or is this more of a country club joyride kind of?
So I think once we're running, I think I will be able to breathe a little bit. A lot of the stage management for this has kind of been, building the set and kind of working with Pam and trusting her as I have over the past 10 years with a lot of revisions, and getting the space and kind of like the environment for the show ready for these guys to perform in. Once we're going, I'll be helping Lily and Chris out a little bit backstage, but a lot of it, it's going, it's live, and you guys are there. There's not much space for us to hide. So it's a lot of prep work, more so work once the show is going, which kind of similar to another show Pam and I did a few months ago when we did Spelling Bee. It was a lot of set up, but with the way the staging is and the way that we have the space, there's no room for me to really be able to hide from the audience. So we've kind of got to get it ready, and we're off to the races.
I heard that Leaf Coney Bear in that production was just outstanding.
Oh yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah, do you remember his name?
Greg Maddock.
Oh, it was me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I really love having Owen there.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I chose this show was because after Rent this summer, Rent was such a epic kind of success this summer that I didn't know what to do next. I was like, I don't know what to do now, because it was just bananas this summer, and you were there, you experienced it.
I went twice. I had to see it a second time. Yeah.
So this felt like a natural place to go, knowing that this story is a partner to Jonathan Larson's work. And so this kind of tells the backstory of that. And so what you're watching is his development of his own career and his own writing and what he believed and wanted for himself. And then how kind of Rent came out of that moment for him. And so it's been nice because Owen and I have been kind of putting little Easter eggs on the set of Rent from the past summer. So if you saw Rent over the summer, you might recognize some of the things that are on the set and how that's going to connect. So it's been really good having Owen there because he was in Rent. And so we've been able to really get creative with some set dressing stuff, so that's been good too.
Pam, when we talked about your ideas and sort of production design,
Mhm.
there's one thing that I thought was just so, so cool. And I don't know if that's supposed to be a surprise or if I can ask you about it. So I'm being very cryptic. But it involves the floor.
Oh, yes.
Is this a surprise?
Well, yeah, it is.
I won't say anything.
But okay, we'll leave it at that. Let's leave it at that.
It's a really cool reason
Cool
to go
floor.
see Tick Tick Boom.
It's a cool floor. Let's we're just gonna put it that way.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm excited for that
Yeah.
specifically.
So the other cool thing is Logan's been learning how to play the piano a little bit. Right, Logan?
Yeah, a little bit is a good way to put it. Just doing a few things here and there to really fake my way through it and get some extra Jonathan Larson in there. But it's been going well. I've always wanted to learn piano, and it's been nice having an excuse and a teacher. So I've enjoyed it, and maybe I'll give myself some credit come showtime, but I'll let the audience be the judge of that.
Well, and this is a good time to mention Meredith Beckley, who's our music director, who's been showing Logan some tips and tricks on what that looks like.
Logan, Jonathan Larson is pretty well known in the theater community, I would say, for being so full of life and so quirky and so just deeply passionate about what he's working on. He really feels like when you think about that, like passionate artist, creative type, that is absolutely him. How do you feel like you are channeling that in your performance so far?
Well, so far I think I've scared Pam a little bit with how much I've put out there, but I'm always somebody in my process. I'm slow to let it all loose. It's all in me and it's all in my mind, but I let it out in the last week or two, and I typically alarm some directors and cast members with doing that. But I do relate a lot to his character, so I have a lot of similar feelings in some of the things, even though I'm a bit younger than him. And I would say the biggest one is simply my passion for what I do and the time I want to spend doing it. And I think hopefully that'll show a little more in my energy the next couple weeks. But I'm always a little slow to show it all. So
it's a vulnerable thing.
Yeah. I think it's a confidence thing until I'm sure of myself in my mind. I don't unleash too much, but yeah, it'll come out.
Okay. I look forward to seeing it. And also I think your honesty about that is refreshing. And I guess what I would say is that this room so far feels like a pretty safe group of people to try some things with. So I say go for it because it's going to be awesome.
Well, and I just pulled a few pictures of John. You can see like he's just got a quirky personality, and you can see the love and the heart in him. You know, he just was passionate about writing and wanting to be heard, I think.
Lily,
I have a video.
you have a video?
Yeah. Go ahead and ask Lily your question.
I was just going to just ask Lily a similar question as Logan, which obviously you're not playing Jonathan, but Logan just shared something that is a challenge about it. What do you think is maybe your biggest challenge when approaching, not just, you have multiple roles that you play. So maybe what are you finding the most challenging? And do you have a favorite moment or character so far?
Oh, great question. I think part of this show, part of the story of this show, like I mentioned earlier, is just like a lot of emotional vulnerability. And so when I think about Susan, who's the primary role that I play, there's a lot of there's a lot of touch points from between she and I, and what she goes through in the course of the show. I can really relate to every character in the show has a decision to make and they're at a pivotal crossroads in their lives. And I think I can relate to the push pull a lot that she feels in this moment with John. So that's been really fun to play with and see how she moves through those choices and those moments of her life, and how I've made similar or different choices when I've been in similar situations. So she inspires me in a lot of ways. Favorite moment in the show, honestly, and it doesn't even involve me, but I love Chris and Logan have this fantastic musical number where they're gonna bring the house down. Honestly, they just get to play on stage, and because of the way that they're staging it, I'll be able to sit back and enjoy and watch them just go nuts on stage and really have that connection and play with each other. So that's like my favorite moment to watch in the show. My favorite moment to be in the show is Logan and I get into a scrap later on in the show, so we get to have a lovely little tiff on stage, and that's always fun to play with and compete. Who wins the fight?
And Lily and Chris get to sit and watch some of the show because they're on stage for most of the show, even when they're not performing. So that piece is present also.
Okay, cool. Chris, I asked the exact same question. You also play multiple characters. Do you have one that's emerging as your favorite so far? And what has been the most challenging in the process up until now?
Of all the characters that I play, I still think Michael's the main one is my favorite, and he's definitely got his own emotional story going on in the background. John is the main character, but Michael has his own journey he's going on throughout the whole course of the show. So trying to find the right moments for some of what he's feeling and going through to come to the surface, while also trying to support his friend throughout what he's got going on has been I think the biggest challenge. But yeah.
That makes sense. I know we can't.
I don't know how much I can get away, but
giving things away exactly. So
well, you can talk about, like we really do believe that this character is that Michael, his friend Michael, was the inspiration for the character of Angel in Rent. And so I know that Chris is connected to that in a way. Right, Chris?
Yeah. That is my favorite character from the entirety of Rent.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All these connections that you're all sharing to your characters make me more excited to see it, because I think this show will just feel much richer and more alive for it. So I think all your responses have been awesome.
We have lots of great people watching us right now. Thanks so much for
Kobe is ready.
Kobe is ready. She's got her tickets. If you don't have tickets, you better get some, because with the seating is very limited. I showed you, like, we put the seating on. You'll be sitting on stage with us. So we don't have a lot of seats. And so if you really want to see the show, you really got to get some tickets. And tickets will be more expensive at the door also. So that's another reason to get them.
You can get them online at theater444.com.
Yep, theater with an R-E. So I have
a rehearsal video, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. Can I play it? Okay, here we go.
Just another birthday. It's 30.
Okay. That sounds great.
Yeah, they've been working super hard. This music's tough. It's tough stuff.
It's a lot of 3 parts, isn't it?
Logan's got his hand up and you're frozen. Oh, there he is.
Oh.
There he goes. We lost him. He's been having tech issues all night. He wanted to say something, but I'm
But
not
most of the vocals are in 3 parts, aren't they?
a lot of them are, yeah.
Yeah, lots.
Which is fun, but yes, hard. That's challenging.
Challenging, yeah. Super challenging.
Very cool.
Super
It's hard to
challenging.
sit still in the chair. You just want to like da 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 da. You got to battle.
Yeah.
Lily, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say most of these numbers, whether they're 3 parts or duets or just Logan, Chris, or I singing solo, they're all really high energy, and so it takes. It's almost like a physical endurance test to get through this show. It's fantastic. So I think people are going to be taken on a really high energy journey you're going to have to keep up with us for sure.
Logan, can you hear us?
Back.
I can hear people now. Yeah, gotta love modern technology.
Oh, yay.
I heard a little bit about the 3-part music, and I could comment on that quick. It's definitely the most difficult show I've been in terms of music. And I have to say, Chris and Lily do most of the heavy lifting with that, because I mostly get to just sing the melody and go with the well-known stuff, but they do a lot of harmonizing, a lot of hard work with that. So I think that sometimes goes unnoticed because of the fact that I am singing the main phrase in the song sometimes, but that's definitely the easiest part to sing. So
You guys are all cute together.
Aren't they cute?
It's really, I'm feeling it. There you are. Iconic, hold up the 4.
Yes.
It's become a tradition now. Cool. I really just had one more question I wanted to ask you. And it's probably a good question to sort of wrap up our Tick Tick Boom discussion and then lead into a couple of upcoming 444 projects. But from each of you, what do you most hope the audience takes away from their experience coming to see Tick Tick Boom? Really, if I don't want to pressure anybody to go first, so whoever wants to dive in, please do.
I really hope that for people that are fans of Rent, that they get to see just a glimpse into like the backstory of how it came to be and the experiences that John had in that caused him to create such an iconic piece of work.
I would say the number one thing that I hope an audience could take away from this is the overall message of Tick Tick Boom, and I hope that we can show them, which is, to me, essentially that love and passion should be the driving force in everyone's life and everyone's career and relationships and everything like that. And that if that can be the driving force, then regardless of how long you live or what you do in your life, that you can have a happy one,
Yeah, these guys said it really well. I won't. I don't have much to piggyback on there, but the power of this show is in its message and in that glimpse behind the curtain at Rent, and getting to know John a little bit better, not just as this like monolith of musical theater, but also as a man who really went on a journey to create this magnum opus, and we all have something to learn from him in both of those ways for sure.
And I think that his life that got cut short so abruptly at a very young age is a part of it. I think that for me, one of the things that sticks with me a lot in this story is this notion that write what you know. And he, one of the things people maybe don't know that they'll learn in this show is that he was actually writing something else. And that was such an off the page, out of the box kind of thing that he was trying to make something work that wasn't authentic to who he was. And that didn't work for him. And it wasn't until he wrote what he knew, which was his own life story in Rent, that he figured it out, and he became a famous person, and unfortunately wasn't there to reap the benefits of all that. But being authentic and being able to just be who you are and know that all of us have something to say and want to be heard. So those things are really important to me. And as someone who started a theater company, that was really part of the reason that we wanted to start this group, because we have a point of view and we want to be heard as artists. And it's a different point of view than some other companies. So we really have worked hard to make that messaging work. I know people always ask me, what is 444? And it's messaging, it's angel messages, it's getting the message, hearing the message that isn't spoken necessarily, but you get it. So, and I believe that's what theater is really about. So
I don't know how we could wrap this up in a better way than that. So,
well, I want to say thank you to our patrons. We have a whole new season that we've started. Our patrons have been our lifeblood. They keep us going. We are a very small, not-for-profits organization, so we really thrive and need our patrons. So I thank them so much for supporting us. And we do some crazy stuff. We don't do the mainstream stuff. So I so appreciate them for believing in us and donating and helping to support us, because that is really how we survive. We started this campaign back in on Giving Tuesday, which was in November, and our goal is $5,000 this year, and we're already at $2,000, and it's January, so we're super happy with that, and we're hoping that you will join us in this family. We have this very large extended family now. We consider our patrons part of who we are. So if you would like to join us in our family here, you can do that at www.theater444.com. I can put that up on the screen here so folks can see it. And help support local theater. I mean, local theater can be really good quality, well done. We have so many talented folks that live around us, and I can't say that enough. You know, it's wonderful to see professional theater, but in my mind, the only real difference between professionals and amateurs is money. So we hope that you'll support us. So thank you to our patrons. And coming up, this is fun. Jenny, who was in Spelling Bee, you maybe saw her as Olive in Spelling Bee last season, is going to do a Broadway cardio class in February, and you can join. It's $10 to join. There's only so many spots, so if you want to get a ticket to go to the cardio class, it's in February on the 18th. Down at St. Peter's Arts Academy in their dance studio. So we appreciate them sharing that space with us. And so Jenny's going to do a Broadway class for us. So that'll be super fun. And then later in the spring comes a play that I've really wanted to do for a really long time called Tiny Beautiful Things. And Cheryl Strayed wrote a book called Tiny Beautiful Things, and I read it a couple years ago. And it's just a lovely book. So this play was written from that story, and it just recently became available, and I was able to nab it. So I'm super excited about that. So that will be coming up in May. That's us.
it's great to have so many things to look forward to. A show less than 2 weeks away, 2 upcoming events. Everything is busy. It's happening.
It is.
And it's growing. And I know that donations are a huge part of what helps Theater 444 continue, but I also know that we're sort of desperately looking for people who are interested in helping creatively behind the scenes, because right now it's a small group of people that have been doing everything, and that's exhausting.
It's great to have new folks come in and try things. Like, we don't want to have it be the same people all the time, because then they get burnout and they get tired. And we want to give as many people opportunities to perform as possible, from technicians to actors to musicians. Like, the more the merrier. We want everybody to be able to have an opportunity to perform.
Right. So if you're interested in costume design or set painting or props design, or even just learning about stage managing or helping out behind the scenes for the weekend of the show, there are so many opportunities for you. I know Pam is always asking for people to simply hang up posters around their communities. I mean, that's an enormous piece of it, is the publicity. So it's just a great way to meet people and get involved. I think, Logan, you were talking about that before, is one of the great reasons to be involved in community theater is just to meet people. There are so many ways you can do that beyond just being on stage. So
yeah. Thanks, Greg.
It's always fun to be here, and I look forward to seeing all of you on stage. And have a great, you're in your big stressful few weeks.
We're in a stressful week, yeah.
So take care of yourselves and each other, and I'm sure there'll be lots of people there to cheer you on. So
thanks, Greg.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everyone. Hello, my name is Pam Raposa, and I'm the Artistic Director of Theater 444. It's been a banner year for us. We're so proud of the work we did this year, and we are joining Giving Tuesday. Theater 444 has joined Giving Tuesday, a global day of giving that has been built by individuals, families, organizations, businesses, and communities in all 50 states and in countries around the world. Millions of people have come together to support and champion the causes they believe in and the communities in which they live. We have 2 days for getting deals, Black Friday and Cyber Monday. On Giving Tuesday, we have a day for giving back. Together, people are creating a new ritual for our annual calendar. Giving Tuesday is the opening day of the giving season, a reminder of the reason for the season. Every act of generosity counts, and each means even more when we give together. Beginning on November 29th, Giving Tuesday, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving in the U.S. Show your love and support of local live theater and tell us your stories. We will be posting stories and photos of the power that the theater has on our community and our lives. so much more in store, but we need your help. Any amount matters. You can donate at www.theater444.com. Happy holidays.